Hey everyone, Usman here, back with another video. I am going to be doing a review for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Woo! I just saw the movies, I think it was like on a Thursday night on the 5th, and yeah, I saw it that night, and yeah, I'll just give you my thoughts about the film. As usual, don't forget to like and subscribe, as well as leave a comment, let me know as usual, your thoughts about the film. Did you see the movie? Did you not? Do you like the character? All those fun things, you can let me know down below in the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts. It'll be basically like non-spoiler-ish for in the beginning, and after that I'll go into spoilers. So that's what it'll end up leading to. Let's get started. So yeah, for this film, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, I really enjoyed it. It had very great visual effects. I mean, this is a very effects heavy movie. Probably, and like a lot of people said, this is very much a comic book type movie. I feel like with the MCU, they delve into the effects and and everything like that more so, like with the more projects that they go into, like, you know, with Loki they did that, I guess WandaVision, that kind of stuff, Spider-Man No Way Home, though, like they just become more and more comic booky, so people could either take that as like a good thing or a bad thing. I actually enjoyed it and I thought it was a good thing because it followed some of the Doctor Strange type of stuff, like from the comics and everything else like that. The character of Stephen Strange is that the development with him, I like how they, I like the development with him and him as a character, and developing his relationship with this one person that he knew in his life, and with the Christine Palmer. I thought I thought that was an interesting concept or aspect of the movie, because in the first movie they delved a little bit into that, but not too much, and they took a little bit of aspects of it in What If and developed it, but then they developed it a little bit more even in the movie. So that was in this movie. So that's what I liked about it. Developing Stephen Strange more as a character as opposed to just being like, okay, whatever. Because yes, we get it, he's a powerful sorcerer and everything like that, but you want to make him relatable, you want to make him interesting, and not just be like, oh, I'm mystical and magical and everything's cool and I'm superpowered. It's like, no, with all these characters that you have, you want to make them like relatable and interesting. That's what it is with Superman. He's just like, oh, I'm powerful and strong and everything, but it's like, and invincible. But it's like if you make him a character that has flaws, or if somebody of his like gets hurt, you'll see sort of like the vulnerability in him, and then you'll be like, no, that's just, oh no, whoa, how's he gonna get out of this, or whoever. So that's what makes it interesting, and I think they found a way to do that with the character of Doctor Strange, like, and everything with him being like the most powerful sorcerer. I liked how they gave the character of Wong some more story time, more development as well. They gave him more to do, because I feel like in the other movies he's always been like, I mean, he's a side character. They're always like making him the guy who's like, Strange, don't do these bad things. That's really bad. It's like you're tampering with the laws of magic and sorcery. And then it's like, he does this, and it's like in this movie he was like, yeah, he did kind of still do that, but at the same time he was kind of just like, you know what, let me just help you out and fix this mess. And that's kind of what I liked about the film anyways in that regard. Like they just gave him more of something to do, and that's what I liked. And Wong has always been an interesting character. Like I always thought he was cool. I just wanted him to get more time. They introduced a new character. Her name is America Chavez, or Chavez. She's a young character. She kind of follows like the whole young, like, oh, I know everything about this specific thing. It's like, kid, what are you doing? That kind of thing. Mentor-mentee type of relationship between Strange and her. But she wasn't like a character that was like, I guess, obnoxious or annoying, or is like, I know everything. No, she has some good moments in the movie, and she was when she stood up against the character of Scarlet Witch, so that was interesting. And what's her name, Elizabeth Olsen or something, she played Scarlet Witch, and she played her well. Like that was just good. I mean, in general, I liked like a lot of aspects of the movie anyways. I mean, if anything, that was just cool, and the effects were pretty cool. I guess I could see, based on what people were saying, like the CGI was kind of like a little, at times was kind of like weird, but I actually kind of liked it. I didn't mind it. It's a big feat anyways with all these movies to make sure, or whatever, to make sure that the visual effects live up to everything. People just are apparently experts. They're like, oh, the CGI in this one shot looks terrible, and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, well, where's your film degree? Or even if you have like one, let other people enjoy it. Sorry, but whatever. I didn't think it was that bad. Like I enjoy it either way, because I can't do something like that. I really can't. But that's a story for another time. But yeah, it was cool with her powers and everything. And I wasn't really familiar with her as a character from the comics. I was like, I don't know. And then I was like, I like her in this film. It's not bad. The multiversal travel stuff. I think with some elements in the writing, I guess with the multiversal thing, it can be a little bit confusing. I mean, I was able to understand it, but then it was part of it was like, yeah, a little bit was confusing, and I know it could confuse audiences, but whatever. But I think this movie is probably not for everybody. I mean, some fans of the MCU probably, or this comic book type of stuff, they'll be like, yes, this is really great. But then I feel like some people will probably be like tuned out. They'll be like, I don't know if this is for me, or like this is too CGI effects heavy. And some people are like, multiverse, what is this all about? This is blowing my brain. Again, I don't know. It depends on you. If you like these films, love them, hate them, it's not for everybody. And for me, I guess I'm just a comic book fan, so I'm like, you know what, I'll take it as it is. And I guess like my main problem, or like the one, like maybe a couple things with the effects and all that stuff. There's another problem of mine, I guess, really, is with Wanda Maximoff or Scarlet Witch. I mean, the actress, she did a great job, like I mentioned, but I just thought that the character was just so, like, she was just so crazy, like, evil. Like, she didn't care about anything. They just made her very, very, very evil. It just made me, like, hate her even more in this. I mean, like I said, the actress's performance was so great, that just made me hate Scarlet Witch. Yeah, but you understand through the development if you've seen some of the other movies and shows. But also at the same time, what I really thought was interesting was that, or just weird, was that they made her way too powerful. I mean, and that's fine. I mean, a lot of people complain about, like, oh, the MCU, they either nerf characters, which is like, oh, they weaken them significantly from the comic counterparts, or they just make them too OP or too overpowered. She was too overpowered in my opinion, and I just like, okay, that's just, how is that even possible? That to me was a little bit like, okay, that's just a little just weird. But either way, she was effective as like the villain of the film. So now I'm going to dip into the spoiler part of it, so you guys can tune out for anybody who hasn't seen the film. I'm going to go in 3, 2, 1. They introduce the characters of the Illuminati. Not that Illuminati. The Illuminati is a group of superheroes that are founded by like probably the smartest scientific minds or minds of the Marvel universe in the comics. They consist of characters, I think, like Namor, Reed Richards, Professor Xavier, Iron Man, Black Panther, and Black Bolt. And so some of the Illuminati was in that team. They brought them in, except this time it was from characters like Reed Richards. Reed Richards was in the movie, but he was played by what's his name, John Krasinski, and a lot of people fan casted him for so long. They wanted him to be a part of the MCU and be Mr. Fantastic because, you know, whatever. I was never really a big fan of the Fantastic Four. I still kind of am like whatever about them, but I kind of found it to be still cool that he was in the movie regardless, because I was like, oh, that's cool. They followed through with that casting. Black Bolt was in it, or Blackagar Boltagon was in it. He's one of the Inhumans. He was in it, but they got the actor from the Inhumans TV series that was terrible and brought him in, and I saw that Inhumans TV show. It wasn't that great, but I gave it a chance, and I thought he was good, and they gave him like the comics accurate costume, which was great. And then they brought in Professor Charles Xavier, probably from like, you know, the X-Men animated series, that type, and the yellow floaty chair and everything, and it was really, really cool. It was like fan service again, just like what Spider-Man was, but I don't know, the cameos in that were great. Yeah, and Captain Carter was cool bringing that in, and then Maria Rambeau and her, the way that they die, I wish they didn't die. I kind of wish they kept them around, but they wanted to show how powerful. That was the complaint about it with Wanda. It was like, she's really that powerful? They made her way too powerful, in my opinion. Again, but it's a movie, it's fiction, it's whatever, but like, again, it was like, come on. I guess with horror, a little bit, when they talk about horror, you know, if I was like probably 6 or 7 years old, then I think this movie would be probably considered horrifying to me, like scary to me. But considering I'm not that anymore, not that age, I don't find this movie to be really scary. I see the elements though of horror in it, but I don't and I guess some parts were like, ooh, but again, they weren't like, oh, you know, scary. But I think it still is pretty effective. It might scare some kids, probably here and there, little kids, probably, whatever. So, and I think they delved into that. Again, it's a lot of mystical stuff, and, you know, it's nonsense, but it's still like, you know, something that I'm like, you know, that's cool with the effects and everything. I just like, you know, for a superhero film and whatever. I always thought he was a cool character. Why not? And yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch, I think he's great in the film too. Him playing Doctor Strange continues to be great. Yeah, Wanda, she sacrifices herself. I think, you know, at the end of the movie, that was just crazy. I mean, I kind of was just like, okay, well, she was pretty crazy anyway. She kind of had to be stopped. You never know if they'll bring her back or not, but who knows? That was part of it. Evil Strange and fighting him, or like, you know, the evil Strange that he was fighting, and, you know, just seeing him fight him, and with the musical notes and the whatever, I thought that was a cool visual effect, and you know, you never really saw that before in like Doctor Strange type of media. Like, you know, I mean, he knows all these spells, and he doesn't speak the spells like he does like when he was in the comics, which was cool. But yeah, just seeing the him fighting his other evil counterpart with the musical notes was cool. And yeah, the post-credit scenes, I think specifically the first post-credit scene, I mean the mid-credit scene with him finding Clea, who I think is like, you know, a love interest or somebody, or his wife, or in the comics. She's another sorceress. I think that was cool. It's something to show comic fans, and them going to the dark dimension and everything it leaves more room for all that stuff. Zombie Strange was cool. Zombie Strange taking the Defender Strange's body and using it like was it dream walking, especially using Zombie Strange to fight Scarlet Witch. I was like, oh gosh, that's actually kind of cool. It's kind of like interesting showing that. I'm not really a guy who's into zombies, as I mentioned before. I think zombies are they're not my thing, but it was cool in that regard. But otherwise, I'd be like, I think if the zombies were associated more with superheroes, I'd probably be like, yes, that's cool, but I'm like with Marvel zombies, but I think that's what it is. But if it's like not associated with superheroes, I'm like, I don't really care. And I actually thought that this film was going to bring up the events from Spider-Man No Way, and they did bring it up from Spider-Man No Way Home, but I thought the events from Spider-Man No Way Home with the multiverse was going to impact this film. Not necessarily. They just brought up No Way Home a little bit, like I said, in like one scene. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it's better. I think this movie's better than the first film. Not by like a giant portion, but I do like that it was a little bit bigger, and I felt like it was more expansive and had some more elements that were expanded upon in this film. A lot of people say it's probably either mid or not. I don't know if it's mid for me. I'm not saying it's like the top tier MCU film, but it's a little bit above the first Doctor Strange. Obviously, No Way Home was my favorite film that came out recently from the MCU. If I would give this film a rating, I would probably give it like maybe an 8.5 roughly, like an 8.5. That's how much I really enjoyed it. It was really cool, really engaging. It delved more into the aspects of Stephen Strange, the side characters. They gave them more of something to do. Introducing America Chavez was cool. Cameos are cool. The action scenes, I forgot, were actually pretty cool, especially with the way that Strange uses his magic. I thought that was cool, the spells, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, CG, powerfulness of Wanda, didn't bother me that much. The score in the film, it's by Danny Elfman. He did the original, considering that this movie is directed by Sam Raimi, who directed the original Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire. This film also had that same composer. He worked with it again. I like how they kept the same Doctor Strange theme from the first film by Michael Giacchino, but Danny Elfman, like, he used that, but then I also like how they kind of just mixed in his own sort of type of, flavor. But those are my thoughts on Marvel Studios' Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Check it out. I think it's worth watching. And yeah, I'll be throwing out my review for Moon Knight soon, all 6 episodes, so that will be fun. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.